What's going on? I Hate Average Podcast back with another week, another episode. Last week was fun. We had Gabriel from Swim Lennox. He's talking about hustling and pursuing your passion no matter what, no matter how hard the obstacles, no matter what comes your way. Just keep going. Even if you got to stop for a little while, stop, pause, but get back to it. A lot of fun, great insight. This week we got Zakiya from the Facts of Life podcast. One of the things that I liked about Zakiya, she's very, very open and honest. Even on her show, on her podcast, so I want to have her on and discuss some things. So we talked about Houston and some of the hurricane relief efforts. We even got into some of the lack of efforts from Joel Osteen. And my internet went out while we was talking about it. So I guess that's a sign not to talk about the man of God. So my internet went out. So the sound the first half of the interview might sound a little differently because my internet went out and I had to make some other arrangements. But we got the interview done. We got the episode done, and hope you guys enjoy it. So here's the interview with Zakiya for the Facts of Life. All right, everyone. Thanks. Another week, another episode. I Hate Average Podcast. I got a special guest. I got Zakiya from the Facts of Life podcast. How you doing, Zakiya?
I'm doing good. Hey, everybody.
Thank you so much for your time, Zakiya. So, tell us a little about yourself. How did you get started with the Facts of Life?
So, I received my degree in communications, and I was going to finish in a minor in journalism, but I wanted to hurry up and finish my degree, so I didn't do the minor in journalism. But my goal was to be in radio initially, and I still want to be in radio, but I moved to Houston about a year ago. So I've been in Houston a year, and since I've been here, I've been discovering, that I don't necessarily need to be in radio to do radio.
Yeah.
And I've listened to a lot of podcasts, so, I decided, why not just do my own podcast? I could talk about my journey here in Houston, and it's almost like, a diary almost.
Yeah.
So it's just walking you through, what I've been through, what I've encountered, dating, working in Houston, the people that I've met, the cultural differences because I'm originally from New Haven, Connecticut. So
Okay.
the cultural differences from Houston and Connecticut. So I just
Is
decided,
it really a
why not?
difference? Is it really a difference from Houston to Connecticut?
I think that there is a difference. Um, I think that being up north, especially the tri-state area, it's fast. Is way faster than Houston. Like people in Houston, they just move slower with everything, whether it's driving, taking their time to text you back. Like the job that I'm at now, it took them I applied for the job in April, and I didn't get a call back until June maybe, so they just, I don't know, people in Houston, they just take their time doing everything.
I guess just the southern. I guess the southern feel. Everybody just more relaxed.
Yeah, super relaxed. They are super relaxed. Where back home everybody's on the go. Not because I come from a small city, and not saying we're super fast paced like New York City, but it's we're way faster paced than people down here.
Yeah, I definitely understand. So, what made you? Because I listened to your podcast. I listened to most of your episodes. But you're very, very open about your life. What made you feel to just be so honest and open about things going on in your life?
I want to be open because I want people to relate, and I want people to understand they're not alone, because I feel like a lot of times, especially when it comes to celebrities and social media, people hide behind social media and fame and stuff, and they're just not open and honest, and people feel like they have to live up to these standards, but it's like everybody doesn't live that way. Like there's real people out here that go through real struggles like depression, anxiety, people lose their jobs, people don't have money, people have to do things that they don't want to do, and I feel like people don't talk about that. Like they only want to showcase the success, whereas me, like I'm just trying to let people know like I have to struggle and it's okay if you have to struggle too.
That's true.
So that's where my transparency comes from, because I feel like if I'm not transparent, people, it's not believable. Like I don't want to put on a show and act, for social media. Like that's just not me. So yeah, I just want people to understand that the struggle, it gets real sometimes and you're not alone in the struggle.
Definitely, yeah, it definitely makes sense. You talked about some of your dating woes. So is Houston, is that different than Connecticut also?
Yeah, the dating is really different out here because I up north, back home in Connecticut, guys are super direct and upfront about what they want. They don't hesitate about trying to talk to you. Like I went back home in June, for example, and I had went to go do this fitting. I was supposed to do a photo shoot, but I didn't end up doing it. So I walked back home, which, things are much closer, in Connecticut or New Haven. So I ended up walking back home from the place that I was at. And like, while I'm walking down the street, like guys are speaking to me, whether they're asking for my number or not. Like there's, I guess, cat calling, you could say that, but it's just like they acknowledge like, okay, this girl's walking down the street, they'll say something. Whereas, like, I've been walking to work these past couple of days because my apartment is closer to my job now. So I walk to work and I
Okay.
walk past guys, they won't say anything to me. And, like, even when I'm out, like, whether I'm at the lounge, at the club, like guys, they don't say anything, they won't try to dance with you, whereas back home, like, it's just like the complete opposite. Like guys are coming up to you, talking to you, even though sometimes they may be, I don't know if I can curse. Can I curse?
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Like they're, a piece of shit or whatever, but it's
Yeah.
like at least like you acknowledge my presence, whereas guys down here, like they're being chased by women, because
Wow.
I feel like the women down here, they aspire to be married,
Uh,
and they want that relationship, but it's like back home the guys, they just don't
they're just trying to
care
have
pretty
fun,
much.
really. They're just trying to have fun.
Yeah, they're just trying to have fun. They're honest. Like they'll ask for your number. Like, guys here, they don't do that. And it's like every time I speak to a guy about dating down here, like a guy out here, they're like, "Oh, you're dating the wrong guy, or you're on the wrong side of town." It's like for me, it doesn't matter. Like,
Just taking chances.
you're all the same niggas to me. You know, so that doesn't make a difference to me.
How? First of all, I want to make sure. How is you? I know Houston had the hurricane. It was a lot of flooding. So how have you been with that situation?
Well, I personally didn't have any damage to any of my property. But when it was happening, it was like really, it was a lot because I've never been through a hurricane before. Well, we had like, was a hurricane, not hurricane, tropical storm Sandy or something, but it was like, that was like pretty much in like, was it Staten Island
Yeah,
that they got the most damage?
yeah, sure.
And like Connecticut, I don't. Since I've been alive, we've never had a hurricane. It's just tropical storms, but it's like the most like trees falling down, but it's nothing like damaging how it was here. Like people lost their homes, their cars and stuff, and it was like I made a decision to go out that night the hurricane really started. I
Oh,
went to go watch the Floyd Mayweather fight, and I went to a friend's house. Right, and on the way there, that's when it started raining, and I was like, oh, in the back of my head, I'm like, you need to turn around, like, you just need to go back home. But I was just like, oh, I'm already here, whatever, maybe it'll stop. So, end up getting stranded, and it's like when I was on my way pulling into my friend's parking lot, I for sure thought that my car was going to be underwater, but it wasn't. It just had started flooding in her parking lot, but it was a lot emotionally because like everybody from back home, like my friends and my family, like everybody's calling me every 5 minutes, to make sure I'm okay, and it's just like it was like a lot of it was emotional because it's like damn, you feel bad for people that are stuck
Of
too.
course.
There's people that have it worse than me. Like I was just stranded at a friend's house. I just couldn't get back to the other side of town. But there's some people that were on top of their roofs. Like that whole week, everything was going on. Like I could not sleep. Like I was
Uh,
up on Twitter, Instagram, looking to see if I could call for help for people because some people their power was going out, their phone was on 10%, it was just like a lot.
yeah, definitely. I mean, so I don't know like how the makeup of Houston is. So it's like, because I know in New York we have like different boroughs. So were you like in a section or a borough where it wasn't as badly flooded as the other sections?
So Houston is a very huge city. So it like I could be like the side of town that I'm on the southwest side of town. Like in this particular area that I'm in, it may not be flooded, but if you go the next street over, it could be flooded. So it's not like boroughs, but it's like different sides of town because it's so big, but it doesn't matter like what side of town that you're on. You could be on the same side of town as a person 2 blocks from you, and their street could be flooded and everything could be damaged, but over here it's fine. Like that's how it was.
Okay.
Like there were some areas that got hit harder than others, but I don't want to say like every part of Houston got hit, but like the majority of
Most
the
of it,
city got
yeah.
hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you didn't make it to Lakewood over there? You didn't make it to Joel Osteen?
Nah, I wasn't. I was too far from Lakewood. Yeah, I was. It probably would have took me like 20. And then the traffic is like terrible. Like even with they closed off a lot of roads, so it probably could have took me a regular 20-minute drive. Probably would have took me like an hour and a half to get over there.
Wow.
If I want to go over there, I don't really agree with the mega churches, but you know.
Yeah, I just wanted to joke because it was a big thing that week when everything was going on.
All right,
How
like I told you, we had some technical difficulties because we was talking about the man of God. My bad, Joel. Don't mess up my incident anymore. I'm sorry. I apologize. Anyway, while we have this quick moment to pause, I want to start doing promos again. So if you guys are interested, hit me up, show@averagej.com. Once again, it's show@averagej.com. Want to start doing promos? You got a product, a service, a business, you're an artist and you just want your music to be out there, let me know. Show@averagej.com. Let's get back to Zakiya.
well, you grew on after the episode.
So there was one, cause like I was saying like I want to be transparent on the podcast, and then there was one episode where I was super open and I wasn't sure how it was gonna be received. I was nervous about it, because I basically was telling everybody like I had lost my job and I was embarrassed because I lost my job. I don't have any income coming in at the time, and also went ahead and I danced for one. I did it for one day. I didn't go back to dance again because of the club that I was at. It was super ratchet, like super super ratchet. So
Yeah.
I was just like, nah, I'm not doing that. But I wasn't sure how people were gonna perceive it. I didn't know if people were gonna judge me, but I got a lot of feedback, saying like, telling people, well, people were telling me like, keep going and stuff like that, because like there would have been plenty of times like I just completely wanted to give up because of me losing my job and stuff.
Of course.
So, I got a lot of feedback from that, but it took everything in me to like put that episode out,
Wow, that's definitely definitely transparent. I don't know if I would have been bold enough to tell that story, but like you said, I guess people go through the similar issues, so they have a point of reference, and you can kind of help them get through some of the issues that they go through.
Right. Hopefully it'll help people to be more honest about their situation, or just know that, there's somebody going through the same struggle, if not a similar struggle.
Yeah. So, the facts of life. Do you guys? I know it's a hot topic nowadays with politics. Do you guys touch on that at all, or do you just try to focus on some of the issues that you're going through personally?
Yeah, I try to focus on the issues that I'm going through personally. I will touch on some stuff that is going on in the world, like, celebrity gossip and stuff, but I try to stay away from it because I feel like there's so many people that are covering that. And not to say, like, I would be bad at it, but I'm just like, who wants to keep. There's like 30 million podcasts talking about the same thing, basically,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I don't really try to focus on celebrity gossip, but if I feel like, either if it's funny or if it's something that, people are really, really talking about, like the whole Kevin Hart thing, like I touched on that a little bit on one of my episodes because I just thought it was not funny, but I just thought it was so crazy, like how he has the freaking world up in arms about him confessing that he was cheating. Like, I swear to God, like, that's what everybody was talking about for, like, a whole week. Now nobody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about the NFL and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, like, nobody cares now. Like, but he had people arguing on Twitter and stuff. Like, it was, like, a whole thing. So I just thought, like, it's just super interesting that, people are just so up in arms about something like that. Like, people cheat all the time, but it's, like, it's just funny that he really had us arguing for a whole week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about it too much, but I think it was kind of more shocking because of the way he bragged about his wife and talked. He kind of flaunts their relationship so much. So the fact that it was him, it kind of was so shocking to people.
Right, and then he did a Breakfast Club interview talking about how cheating was too much of a hassle, basically.
Yeah.
And then you go back and you cheat. He probably was cheating that whole damn time.
It's true.
So that's why, like, for me, Kevin Hart, I really can't take him serious. Like, I never thought he was funny, number one. And, like, I feel like now that he's progressing in his career, I feel like he's putting on more of a show and it's not believable anymore. So that's why it's just like, you just sat here on the Breakfast Club, told a whole damn story, but you could have been cheating this whole fucking time,
That's true, yeah, you're right.
We won't know, but it's like, now, you may now just be confessing.
So what's your thoughts on relationships and cheating? Because my perspective, of course, I don't live this way because I'm married, but I just think that the way things are, it's kind of hard to just be, just focused on one person and focus, it's cheating is so, to me, it's so available now. Of course, I wouldn't do it. Like Kevin Hart said, I wouldn't do it. But it seems so available now. Like, you have like social media. Let's say, so the woman down the street you think is attractive, you could look her up, find her on Instagram and message her, and things going from there. So it's kind of difficult to stay monogamous.
Right, it's like the access is super easy now with social media, but I mean, right now I'm not in a relationship, but when I have been in relationships, I've never cheated, and nobody has ever really told me to my face that they've cheated on me. Well, I'm lying. One instant where this guy I was dating, we went on a quote-unquote break, whatever that is, and he had slept with his ex. And, like, when he did that, I knew the relationship was over, at that point, even though it was over long before he did that because it was, like, a super toxic relationship.
Yeah.
But once he did that, I knew, like, there's no coming back from this for me, because it's just it's gonna keep happening just because of the situation with him and his ex. Like, they were in close proximity of each other because they both went to the same church. His father was a pastor.
Oh my gosh.
And, she would stay over there sometimes. So it was like, once he did that, I was like, it's over. Like, it's done. But, like, other than that, like, nobody if they have cheated on me, they haven't told me.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I don't know. The way I feel about cheating is like if we're married, if I was married, I can't. I've never been married, so I can't really say. But I would. My goal would be to try to work it out. I don't want you to cheat on me.
Yeah, of course.
But if it does happen, and if we have a family or whatever, like I would want to try to work it out at least. But as far as like a relationship goes, like I feel like even though marriages are temporary, but I feel like relationships are more temporary.
You said marriages are temporary?
Yeah, because like you have no legal ties to each other. Like even though you may break up and it may take some time to get over it, it's not going to be as detrimental if you are in a marriage. Like marriage, you have to go through a divorce. You have to pay money to a lawyer. You have to go through custody battles and stuff like that. Like that's a long drawn out process. Whereas I feel like relationships are not. It won't be as long and drawn out as a marriage.
That's true. No, you're absolutely right.
Like,
you're right.
Even like dating now, it's just like I could date somebody for a month and it's just like we could just stop and like I could keep it moving and date somebody else, whereas marriage, I feel like you're investing time. You're investing more time and love and money and
a lot of money.
And then also, I don't know. I just feel like, and if a guy wants to talk to me, he has a girlfriend. Like I really don't care because like, not saying I don't care, but it's just like, if your man wants to do that, like you need to reevaluate who you're dating and who he is and how he respects you in your relationship. That has nothing to do with me. But I would prefer not to date anybody that's involved. I prefer a single man, but I don't know. It's just like your boyfriend may be the love of my life.
Oh man, imagine that.
That's how it is. But if I were dating like now, and somebody cheated on me, I'd probably be over it because like it's more efficient to see.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned in dating.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I think it's interesting thinking that your boyfriend is the love of my life. That's interesting.
He might be. You never know. Like, I'm not gonna let you stop me from. Like I'm not gonna let you stop me from that. Some girls probably feel like, oh, when you're home, blah 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 blah. But I don't give a fuck. Like if the nigga cheated on you, he don't respect you.
I think people have like specific needs, and I think that whatever parameters that comes into, as long as their needs are met, people are for the most part happy. So I don't know.
Right, and I think that people are so caught up on monogamy, they don't understand that there are people in the world that are polyamorous, they practice polygamy. Like there's people in the world that are okay with that. You may not have found those people, but people that want to be with multiple people, you can find somebody like that. Just be open and honest about what you want, and you may find it.
Yeah.
You never know.
You're absolutely right. I guess you never know until you're honest and the conversation comes up.
Right. That person may be with it, but if you sneaking behind their back and stuff, you'll never know.
Yeah, you're right. So I guess your podcast is based on the life of a millennial. So what's one of like the most issues that you deal with throughout your day-to-day life? Is it relationships? Is it career-wise? Is it finding ways to express yourself with creating content? What's something that stresses you out the most days?
I think like my career the most, because like I went to school, I got the degree, and I can't really find a job in my field that's something I want to do, something that I love, and like I've been working these entry-level jobs, and I hate them, like so it's hard, and there's older people that are like, oh, why don't you just apply? And it's like, it don't work like that, you know, because of the industry that I want to be in. Like, they want you to have 3 or 4 years of experience, and it's like, I don't have that because, you know,
you're not giving me a chance.
I've only been out of school for 2 years.
Yeah.
And nobody will hire me in the field that I want to work in. So it's not easy, you know, trying to get a job in your career all the time. Some people, it may be easier for, like, social workers, teachers, nurses, doctors.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else. Like, maybe engineers. Like, it's easier because it's, like, black and white. Whereas, like, being in media, it's like you have to show that you're active. You have to do this. You have to network. You have to go out. It's just like there's multiple steps to get to where you want to be. So I feel like my career is like, you know, one of the biggest things that I struggle with, because sometimes I be feeling like a failure because I see other people working in their career, and it just seems, not saying like they didn't work hard for it, but it just seems like it's easier for them almost.
Wow.
You know, like they don't have to jump through hoops to be in their career, where I feel like I have to jump through hoops and I have to do this, that, and the third.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. But I think you're never a failure until you completely quit. Once you quit, that's when I think you might be a failure, because you're gonna have opportunities where you fail in things, but as long as you don't stop, I think you're always gonna have that chance and that shot.
Right. So I struggle with that every now and then. Like, there'll be some days it's like really good where I'm like, yeah, like, you know, Oprah, she made it. She got fired a million times before, you know, she became who she is, and Jay-Z was however old when he dropped his first album and stuff like that. And then there's like other days where it's like, oh, what the fuck? Like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I get in my career? Am I not good enough? Type of thing. So I would say that's like my biggest struggle, and I feel like that's what I talk about. I feel like I talk about that more. Like, and I said this before. I think I said it on my podcast that, like, whenever I talk to my mom, like, we talk about my career. Like, we don't talk about kids, marriage, relationships. Like, our conversations, like, if we're talking about me, like, it's like about my career, like what I want to do, like the next steps and stuff. Like, so even though I date every now, I try to date whatever, it's like it's not a huge deal as much as my career is.
But that's a good thing. I think as long as it bothers you, it's gonna keep you focused. So that's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah. So, how is the Houston nightlife? Because you know, I like to. One of my random things, I like to go to random cities around the country just for like weekends and just to see how it is. So what's Houston like? If you go in there, you're looking for something to do on a weekend. What's the Houston nightlife for?
So I haven't been to a club in Houston since January. I go to a lot of bars and lounges, so I think that when I first got here, it was fun, but now that I've been to so many places, like, I'm kind of over it. So you're from New York, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know how at one point, well, I feel like people up north, they still dance, but it was like, you know, that whole Get Light thing.
Yeah.
People were Harlem shaking and stuff like that, and like people still dance up north, but like, coming down here, it's the complete opposite. Like, they don't dance. The guys, especially, they don't dance, which I think is, like, super funny because I feel like back home, everybody dances.
Yeah.
Girls, guys, doesn't matter. So they don't dance. Like, I feel like it's just, like, an okay nightlife. It's not something that I'm used to. They play a lot of Houston or Texas things. Artists from Dallas and stuff, they play a lot of that in the club, so I don't really know a lot of the songs. I feel like the DJs, to me, is very few DJs out here, I feel like, that play a variety of things.
Okay.
Like I feel like most of the DJs, they only play like, you know, the Houston artists or the Dallas artists or, you know, Pimp C and whatever, Slim Thug, like who, you know, people that are from Houston.
Yeah.
Um,
Mike Jones and all.
right, all that stuff, and I'm just like I don't want to hear that shit. So I haven't really been going out as much as I was going out last year, but I think like if you're not from here, you're gonna like it.
Okay.
It's not terrible, but it's just like since I've been here for so long, like I'm just over it at this point, you know, because I feel like I'm just hearing the same shit. But it's like I feel like there's so much to do as well.
Yeah.
Like there's always something to do. There's always a party going on. Like I get emails, like 50 emails a day about parties. They party during the week on a Monday. Like not at the club, but like, you know, at bars and lounges and stuff. Like there's something
Like
going on every day.
it's a lot of networking going on. A lot of networking.
Yeah, like the other day I drove past this bar. What was yesterday? Monday. And like the parking lot is packed.
Wow.
I'm like, yo, like y'all don't work in the morning? Like, but it's like they have, you know, hookah specials going on or, you know, happy hour specials. Like one of my friends from back home, she came to visit me in December, and you know I had obviously took off the days because she was here.
Okay.
So we went out on a Wednesday night. We went to this lounge called Prospect Park, and it was I think it was like Afrobeats night or something, but it was just it was packed, like literally you were squeezing, touching people, walking back, and I'm just like, these people are popping bottles
on a
smoking
Monday.
hookah on a Wednesday night. Like y'all don't work in the morning? It's crazy.
Yeah. That's a good set. People like to have fun there, but it's just not your type of fun.
Like some places I do have fun at. Like I like Prospect Park, especially like on Wednesdays because like they play like, you know, African music, and they play. I really love reggae and dancehall music. Like that's my whole thing. So,
Okay.
like I don't mind going there. But yeah, it's just like it has to be something worth me going to in order for me to go. At
Okay.
this point, like it has to be, I don't know, like this weekend I think is Nigerian Independence Day, and I might go to a day party. I haven't really committed yet. But like that's something I will go to, like things like that. Like if it's a theme party or something like that.
Okay. So have you, since you've been living in Houston, have you converted to their sports teams? Are you a Rockets fan?
I don't really watch sports, so no. I don't watch sports. Like I prefer basketball over football. And I went to a Rockets game since I've been here. I've been to one Rockets game, but I've never had like a quote unquote team.
Okay.
Even when I was back home, like I've never, cause like sports weren't big in my house.
Yeah.
So I've never converted to a team, but I mean, I guess I don't want to say I'm a Rockets fan. Whatever. I support them. Cause I'll go to the games and I have a Rockets t-shirt. So I support them.
All right, that's good enough. So,
yeah.
Zakiya, I thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate talking to you. I want to have you on again. I'm make sure my laptop and all that is working perfectly. So how can people reach out to you? How can they hear the podcast and all of that?
So you can find the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud, Facts of Life, and then you can find me on social media at I'm 5'2". That's on Twitter and Instagram. So it's gonna be I am the number 5, and you spell foot out FOOT and the word 2, so TWO. So you can find me on Instagram, Twitter. I tweet a lot. I don't really post that many pictures on Instagram. And Also, my group, Facts of Life, is on Facebook too, so you can add me in the group if you'd like. And yeah, I want to thank you for having me on here.
There you have it. That's my interview with Zakiya from the Facts of Life podcast. A lot of fun. That probably was one of my favorite interviews just because of the technical aspects that I had to deal with, had to rush and figure out a way to record and have her back on. So it was a lot of fun. Cool perspective, very, very transparent. Check out her show. Check her out, her show, Facts of Life. It's a cool podcast. It's on iTunes. It's on SoundCloud. Check her out. Like she said, check out her Facebook group if you can. Also, keep rating and reviewing on this podcast, I Hate Average Podcast. Rate, review on iTunes. Well, not iTunes, Apple Podcasts. I keep making that mistake. Go on Apple Podcasts, rate and review, subscribe if you haven't. SoundCloud, you could click like, repost, comment, let me know what you like, what you don't like. Email show@averagej.com. And I'll talk to you guys next week.